Hey everyone, welcome back to English with Ms. Aisha. Today we're talking about something every professional needs to know, and that's how to handle problems and challenges in meetings using natural professional English. When things start going wrong, when deadlines are tight, when conflicts come up, you need to know the right phrases to keep the conversation moving forward. I'm going to teach you 7 essential phrasal verbs that native speakers use constantly in business settings. We're talking about circle back, push through, fall behind, call off, run into, and a couple more that will help you sound confident and capable, even when things aren't going perfectly. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to navigate difficult meetings with ease and sound like a true professional. Let's get started. All right, let's start with one of the most common phrases you'll hear in American business meetings, and that's circle back. This means to return to a topic later, usually because you don't have time to discuss it fully right now, or because you need more information before making a decision. For example, imagine you're in a meeting and someone brings up an issue that's important, but not urgent. You might say, "That's a great point, but we're running short on time. Let's circle back to that in our next meeting." This keeps the current meeting on track while acknowledging that the topic needs attention later. You can also use circle back when you need to follow up with someone after getting more information. "I don't have those numbers right now, but I'll circle back with you by end of day." It's a professional way of saying you'll get back to them. Another common use is when you're postponing a decision. "We don't have consensus on this yet, so let's circle back once everyone has had time to review the proposal." It shows you're being thoughtful and not rushing into a decision. The phrase circle back is super versatile, and it sounds much more professional than just saying, "We'll talk about this later." It's one of those phrases that instantly makes you sound like you know what you're doing in a business context. Next up is push through, which means to continue working on something despite difficulties or obstacles. It can also mean to get something approved or completed even when there's resistance. For example, if your team is facing a tight deadline and things are getting tough, you might say, "I know we're all exhausted, but we need to push through and get this done by Friday." It's about persevering and not giving up. You can also use push through when talking about getting approval for something. "We managed to push through the budget proposal despite some initial pushback from upper management." It means you worked hard to get it approved. Another use is when you're dealing with a difficult period. "The first quarter was rough, but we pushed through and things are looking better now." It shows resilience and determination. In meetings, if someone suggests giving up on a project or delaying it indefinitely, you might say, "I think we should push through. We're too close to give up now." It's a motivating phrase that encourages persistence. Push through is all about not letting obstacles stop you. It's a powerful phrase for showing determination and leadership. Now let's talk about fall behind, which means to fail to keep up with a schedule, deadline, or expected progress. It's a phrase you'll use when things aren't going according to plan. For example, if your project is taking longer than expected, you might say, "We're falling behind schedule and we need to figure out how to catch up." It's a straightforward way to acknowledge that progress is slower than it should be. You can also use fall behind when comparing your performance to competitors or benchmarks. "Our sales numbers are good, but we're falling behind our main competitor in the Asian market." It's about recognizing where you're not meeting expectations. In a meeting, if someone asks about project status, you might say, "Unfortunately, we've fallen behind on the development timeline due to some technical issues." It's honest and professional. You can also use it in a more personal context within work. "I've been falling behind on my emails because I've been swamped with meetings." It explains why you might not be as responsive as usual. The key with fall behind is that it acknowledges a problem clearly without making excuses. It sets the stage for talking about solutions, like how to catch up or what resources are needed. Next is call off, which means to cancel something that was planned. This is really useful when meetings, events, or projects need to be canceled. For example, if a meeting is no longer necessary, you might say, "The client just approved everything, so we can call off tomorrow's review meeting." It's a simple, clear way to communicate that something is canceled. You can also use call off for events. Due to the storm, we had to call off the company retreat. It explains why something was canceled. In negotiations, call off can be used when talks break down. They called off the merger talks after they couldn't agree on terms. It's a neutral way to say that something is no longer happening. Sometimes call off is used when stopping something that's already in progress. We decided to call off the product launch until we fix the quality issues. It shows responsible decision-making. In meetings, if there's a conflict or disagreement and someone suggests canceling an initiative, you might hear, "I don't think we should call off the project entirely. Let's just adjust the timeline." It's about making careful decisions about what to cancel and what to continue. Call off is straightforward and professional. It's much better than saying something like, "We're not doing it anymore." Now let's talk about run into, which has a couple of meanings in business contexts. The most common one is to encounter a problem or obstacle unexpectedly. For example, if your team hits an unexpected issue, you might say, "We ran into some technical problems during the implementation phase." It explains that something unexpected happened. You can also say, "We're running into budget constraints with this project." It means you're encountering problems with the budget. In meetings, if you need to explain why something didn't go as planned, you might say, "We ran into delays with our supplier, which pushed back our production timeline." It's a professional way to explain unexpected obstacles. Another use of run into is when you unexpectedly meet someone. "I ran into our client at the conference and we had a good conversation about the project." This is more casual but still business appropriate. The phrase run into is great because it acknowledges that problems happen without assigning blame. It's factual, and it sets up the conversation for problem solving. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, you can move on to discussing solutions. Let's add another essential one. Bring up, which means to mention or introduce a topic in conversation. This is super useful in meetings when you want to raise an issue or start a discussion about something. For example, if there's a concern you want to discuss, you might say, "I'd like to bring up an issue we've been having with the new software." It's a polite way to introduce a potentially difficult topic. You can also use bring up when referencing something from the past. "You brought up a good point in last week's meeting about our marketing strategy, and I've been thinking about it." It acknowledges someone else's contribution. In negotiations or discussions, bring up helps introduce sensitive topics. "I hate to bring this up, but we need to talk about the budget overruns." It shows you're aware the topic might be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Sometimes bring up is used to give credit. "Sarah brought up this idea last month, and I think it's worth exploring further." It's professional and collaborative. The phrase is also useful for checking if a topic has been discussed. Has anyone brought up the timeline concerns with the client yet? It's a simple way to coordinate communication. The last one is work out, which means to solve a problem or to develop a solution. It can also mean to be successful or to turn out well. For example, if there's a conflict or disagreement, you might say, "I'm confident we can work out a solution that satisfies everyone." It's optimistic and solution-focused. You can also use work out when talking about details. "We still need to work out the logistics for the event, but the overall plan is solid." It means you need to figure out the specific details. In meetings, if someone is worried about a problem, you might reassure them by saying, "Don't worry, we'll work it out." It's encouraging and shows confidence. Work out can also describe outcomes. The partnership didn't work out as we hoped, but we learned a lot from it. It's a neutral way to say something didn't succeed. You can use it for scheduling too. "Let me check my calendar and we'll work out a time for the meeting." It means you'll figure out a mutually convenient time. The beauty of workout is that it's positive and action-oriented. Instead of focusing on the problem, it focuses on finding solutions. Now let's see how these phrasal verbs work together in real meeting scenarios. Imagine you're in a project update meeting and things aren't going well. Here's how you might use these phrases naturally. We've run into some unexpected challenges with the vendor, and as a result, we're falling behind schedule by about 2 weeks. I know this isn't ideal, but I think we need to push through rather than call off the project entirely. Here's what I propose. Let's work out a revised timeline that accounts for these delays, and I'll circle back with the vendor to see if we can expedite certain deliveries. I also want to bring up the possibility of bringing in some contract workers to help us catch up. Does that sound like a reasonable plan? See how naturally those phrasal verbs fit into professional conversation. They help you explain problems, propose solutions, and keep the discussion productive. Here's another scenario. I know we wanted to launch next month, but we've fallen behind on testing. We ran into more bugs than anticipated. I don't think we should push through just to meet the deadline if it means launching a buggy product. Instead, I'd like to bring up the option of delaying the launch by 2 weeks. Let's work out a new timeline and circle back with stakeholders to manage their expectations. These phrases make you sound professional, solution-oriented, and calm under pressure. So why are these phrasal verbs so important in business English? Because they're the natural, conversational way that native speakers talk about problems and solutions in professional settings. If you only use formal language like, "we encountered difficulties," or "we need to postpone," you might sound overly stiff, or like you're reading from a script. These phrasal verbs help you sound like a real person who's confident and capable. They show that you understand professional norms, and that you can communicate complex ideas in a clear, natural way. They're also essential for listening comprehension. If you're in a meeting and someone says, "Let's circle back to that," or "we're falling behind schedule," you need to understand what they mean immediately so you can respond appropriately. Plus, using these phrases shows cultural fluency. In American business culture, there's an emphasis on being direct but not harsh, on addressing problems without being negative, and on staying solution-focused. These phrasal verbs help you do exactly that. Let's talk about some common mistakes learners make with these phrasal verbs. The first mistake is using them in the wrong context. For example, circle back is about returning to a topic later, not about literally going in circles. Make sure you understand the meaning before using it. The second mistake is overusing them. If you use circle back 5 times in one meeting, it's going to sound like you're avoiding making decisions. Use these phrases strategically. The third mistake is mixing up similar phrasal verbs. Fall behind means you're not keeping up, while fall through means something failed or didn't happen. They're different, so be careful. The fourth mistake is being too casual with these in very formal settings. While these phrasal verbs are professional, in extremely formal presentations or written reports, you might want to use more formal language. Know your audience and context. Quick recap. When your meeting is falling apart, use these 7 phrasal verbs. Circle back means return to a topic later. Push through means continue despite difficulties. Fall behind means fail to keep up with schedule. Call off means cancel something. Run into means encounter a problem. Bring up means mention or introduce a topic. Work out means solve a problem or develop a solution. These phrases help you navigate difficult meetings with confidence and professionalism. They're natural, they're common, and they make you sound like you know what you're doing. You did awesome today. These phrasal verbs are going to make such a difference in how you sound in professional meetings. If this lesson helped you, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more business English lessons. Leave a comment and tell me which phrasal verb you're going to use in your next meeting. I want to hear how it goes. Remember, don't panic in English when things go wrong. Use these phrases to stay calm, stay professional, and keep the conversation moving forward. Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep sounding more confident every day. I'll see you in the next lesson. Take care.